Thank you very much. We have the Honorable Minister Balala from Nairobi with a comment or question.
Yes, Waziri.
Thank you, Jürgen, for organizing this, and African Tourism Board Chairman. Thank you very much. Dr. Rifai, I always admire your visionary position that you play in the tourism sector. And you know my position or my opinion on when I grow up, I want to become like Dr. Talib Rifai.
No.
So Dr. Talib Rifai, thank you very much. Vijay is a good friend of mine for a long time. Thank you very much. I want to make a small statement and direct the issue to the questions or to the subject. First of all, I want to say that it's true. Government do not take tourism seriously. I think during this pandemic crisis, this is the time you could see the gap tourism has played. We've always been blamed in the conservation sector that tourism is destroying the ecosystem in conservation. But now with the absence of conservation, tourism is financing conservation over 80%. So now it is the time even the conservationists have realized tourism is a major contributor to its sustainability. Government as well. They think tourism is about foreigners coming in and taking pictures and taking a sandbath on a beach. This is the impression of governments. But I can tell you now, with the lockdown and with lack of tourism, government have realized the agricultural sector has majorly been affected. The manufacturing sector has been affected. The financial sector has been affected. All services enable the tourism sector, which is invisible, has been affected. And in Kenya, tourism is 10% of the GDP. Now the government has realized tourism is 24% of the GDP. That's how important tourism has become now. But again, they don't realize what to invest into. They can invest in agriculture, incentive and stimulus projects. They can invest in the manufacturing and trade protocols and stimulus projects. But they don't see tourism as where do they invest into. Because also tourism actually employs the lower cadre of society and population. So that is the challenge. We need to come very clearly, particularly the African Tourism Board and the World Tourism Organization, that tourism is beyond just a GDP. Tourism is a life. Tourism is peace and security and civilization. This is tourism. I think we need to change tourism from the image of holiday making and spending of money. Rather, of tourism changes people's life when they get employed. So that's my statement, colleagues. The second issue I thought Talib has brought in is how do we make the corona safe zones? And I have no worry about using corona. We can use corona negatively, we can use corona positively. Because everybody has realized corona has affected their lives. So we should recognize that name, corona safe zones, and then sanitize those areas. My problem is that who will do the sanitization, who will do the certification, all those programs, probably Talib, you should advise us. We might be another talk shop meeting here without somebody going to implement. I know the crisis has brought opportunities. If I am in the private sector, I will jump in the whole mode of certification. I will jump into the business of sanitizing the planes and sanitizing the destinations. That will be the new business. And this is an opportunity. So who will do that? Probably among us, we need to share to our private sector so they can be able to join into this business. The second issue is to my friend Vijay. Thank you very much, Vijay. Very informative. I want you to share with me and all of us probably that presentation. But we need to know the vision of IATA. You need to know the impact IATA has on all of us. Because 5 years, my God, where would we be? How would we survive in 5 years' time? That is a nightmare to all of us because it is jobs, it is livelihood. So how do we survive? And you know, in countries, in the first world, in countries where infrastructure and the social structures are well entrenched and supportive, but in countries in Asia, in Africa, where there's no social structure, how do we survive? So that is an impact. I mean, if we are going to increase the airfares to 30 to 40% hike in fares, who will travel? Who will travel? That's my question. And then everybody will travel by road. At least in Europe, we have a very big and strong, and America also, strong infrastructure network. In the other parts of the world, it's not there. In Africa, it's not. That's why we in Africa have failed to attract even intra-Africa tourism. My agenda for the African Union was we should invest into infrastructure and connectivity now. So in 5 years' time, it will be ready. So it's not about just tourism being promoted. It's about investment in the infrastructure and connectivity now. It will create jobs. It will open for tourism, but it will bring the produce and products from the market to the, from the farms to the markets and to the export destinations. That is my thinking of how to build networks and infrastructure. But it is really shocking to say that if the aviation sector is not going to recover soon, then we should forget about tourism, because we rely on tourism. In Africa, we rely on foreign tourism. We don't rely on domestic tourism because our spending power is small. And we have seen, I've worked with MasterCard International. The spending power of my domestic market is less than half the spending power of international clientele. And then for me, I need the foreign currency. I cannot replace international clientele to domestic market. I cannot replace it. So I'm lucky in Kenya because we have a strong domestic tourism. So we might do better for the next 6 months. But if you tell me, Vijay, I have to sustain myself for 5 years, it's a nightmare for my government. I rest my case, and I hope I have shared with you and can learn from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Najib.
Just quickly respond to Muna's comment and also to Najib's comment. First, to reassure Najib that when the Boeing CEO was talking about a 5-year for recovery, he was talking about how long it will take the airlines to go back to the peak of 2019. Right? That will take. Airbus says 3 years. Airbus says 5 years. Boeing says 2 to 3 years. But obviously, airlines will start taking off much sooner. But until how long it will take for them to actually reach that peak they were at in 2019 will depend on the different other factors, some of which I mentioned. So connectivity will start earlier, but the level of connectivity will probably increase over time and not reach that 2019 level in a year or two. It will probably take longer. But the point about Muna, I wanted to reflect on, because it's human nature. We really only appreciate things or even people until we've lost them, and then we realize how fortunate we were, but then we missed that chance. And aviation had an opportunity in 2010. If you remember the Icelandic volcanic ash.
That's right.
And that basically, especially in Europe, closed all airports and so on. And it cost the global GDP $5 billion. And that element was used by the airline sector to build up its credentials with governments and stakeholders over the years. So I think we have an opportunity now, seeing that the travel and tourism have actually been grinded to a halt, and the impact is visible, to actually use that data to share the importance. But the point I want to highlight is, as we show that importance, best not to show the importance of airlines and hotels, because people know they've been impacted, but actually show how the common of mortals, individuals in villages and places have been impacted, because they have been unable to actually benefit from the down the line benefits of travel and tourism. If we're able to build that case and also show that governments have been missing out on the financial contribution of the travel and tourism sector, therefore being less able to help communities. If we're able to actually focus on communities being impacted as opposed to industries being impacted, we probably have a better chance to build up better goodwill and win the hearts and minds of people on the importance of travel and tourism as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vijay. It's quite an interesting discussion here, and I think everyone's still here. We haven't lost anyone, so I know everyone is enjoying it. And yes, Minister Balala, it's definitely not my goal to just have another discussion with no outcome. So we were trying to find a way, and we need everyone's help, because this is not like an entertainment platform. We can also provide an entertainment platform. You can read Ethiopia News. We don't expect you to always comment, but really there should be an interactive platform that can actually provide results. So if Vijay's comment would result in other consultants or in Vijay as a consultant to go out and actually advise companies or airlines with his idea, we like to help to facilitate this. If this project with corona-free zones would have any interest in other parts of the world, like in Micronesia or in Uganda or anywhere else, we'd like to help with this and actually help to advise you and set it up. And this is kind of the network I'm looking at. We're not quite there yet. We only started 10 days ago, but 95 countries are online, so I'm optimistic we can do this. We don't have any money. We didn't charge anyone a dime. So we're doing this all on our own time, but any help you guys can give with input, ideas, just go to the website rebuilding.travel and click on contact, and we'd be happy to start this conversation. I received emails for your information on a daily basis, many of them who wanted to be part of this discussion, have great ideas and are involved in fantastic projects. So as we go along, we'd like to introduce it, but what we don't want is just to introduce it and then leave it. So at least this is our goal. We're not there yet. We are now literally 6 minutes over time. Deepak had one more question. So if there's anyone else after Deepak, maybe we can take one more and then we call it a morning or a night. And so for Deepak, go ahead. I think I have to unmute you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jürgen. My question is to Vijay and to Dr. Rifai. As you know, to recover our tourism, the airlines will have the most significant role. But most of the aviation experts, they are saying that, after Corona, the traveling costs, air costs will be very, very high. So in that line, how government or how airlines take some measures to minimize the air ticket costs so that we can recover fast. If there are any tips to the government, to the airlines, so I would like to know from two experts.
Want to start, Vijay?
No, I think the starting point must be if when governments are going to give financial support to any airline, it should not condition it. Like, for example, you saw what France did. When France gave its support to Air France, it conditioned it on France going on a path to profitability. Now, if that path is there, then of course the airlines are going to focus on making as much money as they can, as fast as they can. But what governments must understand is that there is going to be implications for the wider economy if the airline starts doing that. If they only focus on profitability, and that's why they increase the fares by 35, 40, 50, 60%. Any opportunity an airline has to increase prices and still have a market, they will do it. But if the governments were to say to airlines they are helping is that we give you support, but in return, you must seek approval for your fare increases so that we see if it's justified and what the impact it will have on the wider economy, including the tourism sector. That would be a different paradigm. And I think this is where we need that. This is the time to have that conversation with governments. Not when things are back on track. This is the time governments, airlines are knocking on the doors of governments and will take money with any condition attached. And that's the time to try to get government to think about the conditions which can help the tourism sector take off, as opposed to keep the tourism sector in trouble for longer. Thank you.
Thank you. May I say something very quickly, Jürgen?
Sure.
Yes, okay. There are 2 points here. Number one is I always had some sensitivity towards national airlines. National airlines have been protected so long by governments, to the extent sometimes that they have been seeing the benefits of the company more important than the benefit of the country. So we have to be careful about this. It's a lesson we must learn from it. But my second point is the following. I think we're really looking now at 2 different types of airlines. Sorry to say this, Vijay. I think low-cost airlines will have a rise in this. They will have to now prove themselves a bit more competitive than the others. On the other line, we are going to see some private jets probably more active than before, because businesses, people that have money, do not have to take any more the regular airlines. So I'm afraid that what I'm suspecting is that the regular airlines in the middle here, between low cost and private jets, will have to find a very hard way of surviving now.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, if there's no more questions, I think we're coming to an end. Thank you so much for everyone attending. Thank you, Minister Balala, Taleb, Vijay, Deepak, Vincent, Mona, for participating. It's an interactive, world interactive subject. We're going to have another conversation probably in a week, and then 12-hour difference, so we can allow our friends here in North America and South America to have easier access time. I think everyone in Africa and Europe will be fine. And please stay in touch. We want to make this work for everyone. We want everyone to benefit. We're all in this together. And aloha from Hawaii. Good morning. Namaste. And I don't know what it means in Kiswahili in Kenya, but
well,
and thank you so much.
What is it, Waziri? Waziri, what is it? How do you say Sabah al-Khair in Kenyan, in Swahili?
Yeah, you have to unmute yourself.
Oh, yeah, we have to unmute. Okay. Okay,
yes,
there we go.
Say Jumbo, because the common denominator of
Jumbo.
Jumbo, yes.
Jumbo is excellent. Okay. Thank you so much. And Jumbo Waziri.
Okay.
Jumbo.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Bye-bye.
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 Thank you.